This teeny camera now has a flip-out screen. Good day, you beautiful people. Welcome to LAZADA's Tech, where we do tech in your life in style. Today's video is super exciting because we have the Insta360 Go3. Basically, this is the tiny little camera that I checked out that went viral again and again. And we're literally at 3 now. And what that means basically is that from the first iteration to the second iteration that came with an even better case, this newest one should have even better improvements. And it's honestly starting strong with this new flip-out screen. Now, let's backtrack and take a look at our quick unboxing. We also get the pivot clip, and it's called pivot because, well, it pivots. And this thing has a sticky bottom. Take off that sticker. You can put it on like surfaces and it'll stick. Cover it if you don't need it. But basically what you do is you clip this on. It's actually magnetic and it's pretty sturdy. And then you can just stick this thing on places and angle it accordingly. Now, it doesn't end there because this pivot clip, just push to unlock, also works with just the Go. So sans the case, you can use this clip to mount the tiny little camera, which is honestly pretty cool, pretty useful. Now, aside from that, we get the famed magnetic mount. If you're familiar with Insta360 Go cameras, you'd know what this is for. It's pretty cool. You basically wear it like a necklace, and then this magnetic strip goes here, and you can add the camera here, and you're ready to go. Now, while not necessarily new, what's pretty cool about this magnetic necklace is that they have this new feature where you can hide the string. Honestly, and personally, having used this before, I like that you can hide it because I feel like this little string sometimes gets in the way, and you can also adjust the length because of how that works. That's pretty convenient. You now also get this little what's this called? It's a little insert that's sort of inclined so that when you do wear this magnetic mount on you, all you need to do is add on the back. So basically when you wear it, it does like tilt the camera to what angle you'd want it to tilt to. And then finally you get this pivot clip, which, okay, I'm getting confused. This is the pivot stand and this is the pivot clip. Again, pivot stand, pivot clip. But yeah, the pivot clip isn't really new. Basically, you mount the tiny camera here and you can clip it on to wherever, whether it be your shirt or your cap, and adjust the angle accordingly. Now, for me, the most exciting new thing that we have for this new Go is this tiny little case. So the Go3 fits here perfectly, and it's now looking like a tiny little action camera. On this side, you have a power button, and then you have another button here that brings you to your quick menu. You have your record button up top. At the bottom, that's the mount where the pivot clip sticks to. Wait, this way. There we go. And then on this other side, you get the USB-C charging port. Also, this unlock button for when you want to take out the Go3. Again, the cool thing about this mount, it turns into a selfie screen. I love that. More on that later though. So what's pretty cool about this case, this tiny little case, is that it's actually quite responsive, even if it's like the teeniest little thing. If you swipe down, you can get to settings. You have orientation, you have your brightness settings, you have quick capture on and off. You also have 3 levels of stabilization. You have level 1, suitable for daily activities with low preview delay. So basically, your little preview here is still snappy. You have level 2 for intense activities like running. We'll try that later. And then level 3 is suitable for extreme activities such as biking with high preview delay. I do have samples of that with this camera. I'll show you that a little later. You also have voice commands, which is crazy. Again, we're gonna try that. You get time capture. What else? Ooh, you also get your audio settings. You can do directional focus, wind reduction, stereo. There's grid settings and even more settings onto here. Swipe to the right, you get your camera controls. Swipe to the left, you get your preview. Swipe up, you get your resolution and your video size. And then from this mode, you're able to switch around between like ultra, linear, narrow point of views. And let me show you the difference here because I can pivot the screen. So this is the point of view of ultra, linear, narrow. And then press the Q here, you get a lot of different modes. So you have video, you have free frame video mode, time lapse, time shift, slow motion, loop recording, star lapse, interval shooting, HDR photo. There's a lot. What's free frame video? Oh, basically you can edit it on app if you use this mode. But yeah, you get the idea. But yeah, I love how even if it's a tiny little screen, it's not really very cumbersome to use. You get to the quick menus really quickly. Or maybe it's just because I've always wanted the screen on the tiny little Go cameras because it just helps me navigate the menus better. Either way, I'm loving how they implemented all the stuff on here right now. Now, the thing with this tiny little camera is that there are a couple of shooting iterations. Let me show you. You can, of course, shoot without the case. This is what that looks like. And all you need to do is press this button at the bottom. It's not actually a button, huh? It doesn't look like a button, but you press the bottom of the Go3 and then you see that light flashing. It means you're recording, and this is what the footage looks like. And then to stop, all you really need to do is press again. So that last footage was shot on narrow, and this is what linear looks like. Yeah. And again, it's being shot by the camera, just the camera without the case. And again, just so there's a little bit of shootingception, I am shooting with the Insta360 Go. This is narrow all over again. And as you can see, the camera is not in the case, but you can clearly preview what's going on the case, even if they're not together. Yeah, they're not together. You know what I mean? Like if it's not in the case. Anyway, this is what that footage looks like, and look at that. It's pretty cool, isn't it? This is on stabilization level 1. And that is what the preview looks like. Again, loving the fact that they have this tiny little screen here because I get so confused with the Go 1 without a screen. I just never knew if I was recording or not recording, or you know what I mean. Now the Go 2 slightly made that situation better for me because it did show on the case if it's recording, what it's doing, if it's connected, but I really feel like this bigger screen with a preview, this is the way to go. Now, pretty interesting though is that the Go 3, this little tiny camera thing, it's waterproof, so that means you can actually put it in water. But this is only IPX4 water resistant. Now all that means is that you can swim with this, but not with this. You can probably use this when it's raining and you're trying to shoot out, but big caveat, it's water resistant when this is in here. And I'm assuming that it's because of these tiny little contact points here which are not supposed to get wet. Insta360 also does note that when you swim with a Go3 and this thing is wet, you shouldn't like toss it into the case because then you'd get the contact points wet. Now again, because you can shoot with a camera while it's not in the case, you can shoot by using this case as a remote option. So for example, let's put this down. So I have a little preview of what that tiny little camera sees. It's on the table here, and from here I can just press the record button. And here you go, we are shooting with a tiny little camera and we are actually using the case as a remote. For content creators like me, this is a godsend because then you can check your framing, you can check your preview, you can check if you're shooting in the right aspect ratio. It's so much easier. And again, we're on narrow. This is sample footage of that. You're also hearing audio from the Insta360 Go3. And honestly, vlogging with the screen is just way easier because, oh my gosh, preview. I know how it feels to shoot without a preview and to try to like go and do everything blindly because I did, after all, shoot a lot of my YouTube videos with a camera that did not have a flip out screen. Let me tell you, the moment you get a flip out screen, it makes a world of a difference. And that is why I am all for this as well. Now, another thing that I've been wanting to test out on this is voice control. It's telling me that I can start shooting by just telling the camera to do it. So let's try that. Right, let's check out the controls. Okay, are you ready? Start recording. Oh my gosh. Stop recording. It's actually working. How about like shut down camera? Bro, let me tell you, that's cool. On the other hand, this is what wide looks like, and this is pretty much how near I am to the camera, as you can see, but the view from the Insta360 Go3 is this wide. Especially useful for action shots. And speaking of action shots, I did try out the stabilization. Friends, I went on a bike for you guys. Since it says here that level 3 stabilization was for stuff like biking, I decided to take it on the bike ride. So the footage you're looking at right now is on ultra wide, and this is on level 3 stabilization on the bike. You can also set that to 16:9, as you can see here. For social media posts, it's perfect. And I was pretty wobbly on that bike. Let me tell you, I'm pretty impressed with the footage. For comparison, this is what the footage looks like with the same camera, but with stabilization turned off. We're back to level 1 stabilization, and just showing you what that looks like. This is supposed to be good for normal everyday stuff like walking around and stuff like that. You're also listening to audio from the Insta360 Go3's 2 mics, and this is directional audio, so you're supposedly getting audio coming from in front of the camera. Let's test this out though, because there's also an option for stereo audio, which means that it's picking up audio from the sides as well. This is how that sounds like. Can you hear the difference? But it's not all. There's a third option, and it's called wind reduction. I just turned it on for this clip, and basically this mode is for when you're, let's say, on a bike and you're trying to talk, although I don't know how you're gonna be doing that because biking and talking and shooting, that's a lot. But anyway, it's supposed to filter out the wind, so let us test that out. Ooh, there, finding my light. Let's test that out by turning on my fan and listening to how it sounds. Okay, so this is at number 10 now. You can see how wind is blowing on my hair, and this is how audio sounds. Let's stay in front of it. This is how audio sounds with the fan turned on, with wind reduction turned on. Does it sound any better? Can you hear me? Another big deal thing that's improved on the Insta360 Go3 is that it basically, well, this tiny thing basically has an improved battery. Insta360 claims that this has a runtime of 45 minutes, way better than the Insta360 Go2. And the case, every time you put it in here, that's gonna be charging your camera. That's not new, but what is new is that with a charging case, you get a total of 170 minutes. But you don't only get longer battery time on the cameras, you also get longer shoot times. Meaning this tiny little camera now can shoot as long as you want, which is a pretty big improvement coming from the Insta360 Go, the first one, which one of my main issues with that tiny little camera is that you can only shoot short clips with it. This thing, it gives you the option to just keep on going. So for example, when I did test the stabilization on the bike ride, I did have that running for like maximum 10 minutes. I know that's not that long in the grand scheme of things, but that's long for me being on a bike. Basically what I mean is it's pretty useful because now you're not panicking that you might not have caught whatever exciting thing you wanted to catch. It does definitely shoot as if it's an action cam now because it removes that limitation of shooting only short clips. And though we still don't get 4K shooting on the Insta360 Go3, we now get 2.7K, which is an improvement. And of course, this camera connects to your phone as well. You go on the Insta360 app, and that's where you're able to edit and export all your footage. All in all, I find the improvements on the Insta360 Go3 to be pretty cool. I feel like this little tiny screen here, the fact that it flips out, is a game changer. I am loving this little action cam form factor, and I'm pretty excited to see just how this camera will fare as like a vlogging camera, a main vlogging camera, or a B-roll camera for my videos. Definitely in terms of size and sheer compactability is that the word, but like by virtue of it being so compact and tiny, I don't think there's anything in the market that I would suggest over the Insta360 Go3. But then again, this is just my first look at this camera, so I'm excited to test it out further, to push it to its limits and see what it can do. One point that I wanted to make though is the fact that from the Insta360 Go, the very first, to the Insta360 Go2, to this Insta360 Go3, we're seeing really great improvements. And so I'll say I'm pretty impressed. I still would have loved 4K on this though. And that was our look at the Insta360 Go3. Let me know what your questions are. Let me know what you think. Let me know what type of other videos you'd want me to shoot with this, how you'd want me to test it out more. Comment down below. If you want to see how I use my tech on a daily basis, find me online. That's LAZADA_ on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Until next time.